Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Catching the Facts podcast here on the Catching the Facts official podcast network. I'm your host, Dan Sisk.
And I'm Schroeder.
And guys, we have a lot of really good news stories today. Eric and I were getting a little worried that we wouldn't have a lot to talk about on this episode. And then the last 3 days or so, there have been a ton of news. So there's a lot to get to, a lot of really juicy stories, and a lot of definitely hot takes inevitably coming from the two of us. So Eric, you ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Okay, guys, starting off, there really isn't much to add from last episode, but Brendan Sorsby has officially, there has been another development in his situation. The NCAA denied, or rather the judge in Texas denied his ability to appeal his banishment from the league. So he will not be able to play in 2026 for Texas Tech. Eric, I mean, we discussed it when you bet on your own team, which he did at Indiana. Even if you don't play in the games, and even if you always bet on your team to win, you're just making excuses for the degenerate gamblers out there, and you're creating a situation where if you give a mouse a cookie, then they're going to ask for milk, right? So if you gave Sorsby even a little bit of slack, you were just going to open the world up to a lot more egregious cases of gambling later on. So this had to be done, even though I will admit his situation is not as bad as some other, gambling situations in the past, but who cares? I mean, he did it, and you can't give any slack to people like that. So it's the right call. I mean, we talked about it last episode, so I don't really know. There isn't much for me to add. I imagine there's not much for you to add either. I mean, it had to be done.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing really for me to add from that standpoint. We talked about it, and we agree. He shouldn't be able to play. Like you said, it doesn't matter if he's betting on his own team to win, even when they're not that good and he's not playing. I mean, there should be no excuses for that. You should not be gambling as a college athlete, as a pro athlete. I mean, it's what that's like written in stone, basically, that they are not allowed to do that. And they know that. But he had a problem, and he's getting it fixed, of course, now going to whatever that, like, rehab facility or whatever they call it, or
Yeah.
correctional facility. Um, and that should be, hopefully, the end of it. Now, he is still eligible for the draft, so he could technically be drafted. If I'm an NFL GM or whoever, I would not be drafting this guy.
No.
He was good, but, I mean, he wasn't anything crazy special or some raw talent. He had work to do, so, and now especially with this coming out, I mean, you can't really make the argument to draft him, so. But
Yeah.
he does have the option. He has the option. I believe it's, he does have to, like, figure it out this summer if he's going to the draft or not, but still. He's not gonna play college football again, hopefully. So, we'll see how that turns out for him.
If he plays his cards right, he sits for a year and just gets his
Yep,
life in order, and then next
yep.
year he can talk about the supplemental draft after. Like, I can totally see it happening, Eric, where he shows up to the combine next year and puts on a hell of a performance.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely
So
possible.
he just has to. If he's smart, he'll sit a year.
Yep, there's nothing
Um,
wrong with his game. He just has to get his head right.
Yeah, and as we discussed, and you just mentioned it, Eric, and I 1,000% agree with you. He's a really solid QB. I mean, he was the quarterback for the number 3 team. I know Texas Tech's defense, got them to that spot, but you still need to have a solid offense to be number 3 in the
Yeah.
country. And he's a really solid quarterback. He's not elite, but he's really solid. Um, I, I- Again, I truly believe a really strong combine is possible, but he has to get to a place mentally where that can be a viable possibility. And right now, that's not, that's not a
Yeah.
realistic situation. So
Agreed. Yeah, and, like,
eventually he'll get there. But if he's smart, he'll sit a year.
yeah, I agree, and honestly, though, I mean, the list of things that guys have done and still gotten drafted, this is pretty low on the list of, like, severity, so it's
Yeah,
definitely a possibility he can get drafted still. So,
I agree.
it'll be interesting to play out, but his college career, I think, should be over, and I'm sure you agree as well.
Yeah, 100% agree. You bet on his own team. You can't,
Yeah, I
you
mean, come
can't do
on.
that.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. You can't do that.
No.
That's all I have on that story. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, guys, moving on to Josh Jacobs. This story is just absolutely crazy. Speaking of things that, you can get drafted for things that you do that, teams are able to look past. If I don't know if the Packers are going to be able to completely look past this. He was booked on 5 charges last week for, and I'm counting here, strangulation and suffocation, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim. Um, I just the fact that he's even at camp right now is insane to me. How is this man at camp? And Matt LaFleur was at the press conference saying, we're just gonna look past it. We're all focused on the team. It's like, do you
Yeah,
honestly think
business as usual, he said.
business as usual? It's like, Matt, do you really think that team isn't side eyeing him? I mean, that's like really he is damaging. I mean, what else is new? Matt LaFleur damaging the locker room. I mean, I can't. Why are we even surprised at this point? But the fact that he thinks the team will just be able to go on hunky dory like nothing's wrong is crazy. That is a sicko take. Um, Look, we weren't there, guys. No one listening to the show was there. It's impossible to fully, evaluate everything going on here. But what I will say is this: um, Josh Jacobs is a hell of a quarterback. He's very hell of a running back. What am I saying? He's a very he's a very talented running back. He had a lot of big plays for Green Bay last year. I can't tell you how many times he saved them when Jordan Love was struggling and or hurt. Um, but these are very serious charges, and we'll see if anything can really come of it. But I just this is another situation, Eric, where really shitty behavior is taken as commonplace in the National Football League, and it's a shame that these kinds of situations happen because they really do serve as a black eye to the sport at large. But at this point, there's nothing that the fans can do about it. I mean, that's just this is what the league is, and we'll see what comes of this situation. But this is definitely going to be a case that we're going to be following very carefully because if Josh Jacobs goes down, the Packers aren't done, but they'll be seriously dinged. So this will be a big loss for the team. And then also, and this is more important, obviously me and Eric, we both hope that his girlfriend is okay at the moment because that's pretty serious. Those are
Yeah.
five very serious charges. So again, we weren't there, so it's really hard to comment on this, especially with the severity of the charges. But we'll see if anything comes of it and how it affects the Packers, and more importantly, the Packers locker room, because there's no way camp is just business as usual, as LaFleur said. There's no way.
No, and if it is, I mean, that's not good. That kinda shows they can just immediately look past it. It kinda reminds me of the Joe Mixon situation. Now, obviously, he was found not guilty back in 2023, I wanna say. He was charged with something where he, like, shot like, hit one of his neighbors or whatever in the foot. Um, and it was just dropped. Never heard of it ever again. Nobody even brings it up anymore. I understand he was not guilty, but even while it was going on and he was, like, the case was still going on, it was business as usual. I mean, he was playing games, he was doing whatever. So I think this is just gonna be one of those cases where nothing really comes out of it. These charges are probably gonna get dropped off of him, and he's going to be just fine. He's gonna be playing, um, in August or whatever, and like Matt LaFleur said, it's gonna be business as usual because nobody it's a sensitive topic, nobody wants to talk about it, and the media is gonna drop it, and then by September, nobody will remember this, and he's gonna be playing, and he's gonna be, playing good. So it's I don't wanna say it's not a big deal, but it's not gonna be made out to be such a huge deal just because he's such a high profile player, I feel like.
Yeah, and I appreciate and respect your Joe Mixon comparison. That's something I didn't really think of when hearing about this story, but that's a very good point because when it comes to the 5 charges that are currently facing Josh Jacobs, one of them is a felony. Strangulation and
Right.
suffocation is a felony in this country, and Joe Mixon was similarly uh, charged with a very, very serious crime.
Yeah.
Um, and even with a felony charge on his name, he was able to go on as business as usual.
That
So
is such a bad quote, man.
it's
That
a
is
really bad
so
quote.
that's a bad choice of words.
I mean, again, it's LaFleur. We shouldn't be shocked. But
Yeah.
I just we'll see what comes of it. We'll see how it develops. But yeah, this is these are very serious charges. Um, look, to bring it back to Joe Mixon. Obviously, I'm thrilled that Joe Mixon was found not guilty. I'm glad he didn't do it. But at the same time, he shouldn't have been playing.
Right,
And
yeah.
I feel Josh Jacobs right now should just be, working out at home and keeping to himself. That's how I feel.
Yep,
But
yep.
unfortunately, they're not going to do that. Um, and yeah, again, I'll be very curious to see how this situation develops, and we will obviously will be covering it on this show. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
that's a big deal for the Packers.
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have on that story. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, guys, moving on to the next story of the episode. Derwin James has officially signed the biggest deal for a safety in the National Football League. He has agreed to a 3-year, $75.6 million deal, and 57 and a half of that is in guaranteed money. This is the second massive contract uh, that he got, in the 70 millions. What was it, 3-4 years ago at this point? Um, he got another similar deal. $25 million a year with this new extension. Um, I mean, you can't tell me he isn't worth it. He's still got a couple years of his prime left. He's getting up there in age. He's 29 already. He probably only has until he's 33 or 34 before his body starts to break down. So this is probably going to be his last big payday of his career, and he deserves it, man. He's really, really good. He's one of the few bright spots on the LA Chargers. Um, and yeah, he's 1,000% worth this money.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love the way this guy plays. I understand, a lot of people might not because he gets fined a lot. People say he's dangerous, but, I mean, the league has kinda shifted more out of that with toward this player safety thing. He just plays an old style of football, and
Yeah,
some people might not like it, but, I mean, he plays the game. He's pretty much the ultimate Swiss Army knife. You can line him up anywhere, and, he's gonna play that position. You can line him up, on the edge or safety, wherever you want.
yeah,
So, yeah, I like this guy a lot, and he completely deserves this money. I mean, he's been really good these past couple years. I always love when the Chargers play the Chiefs. It's always a fun matchup to see him and Kelsey go at it. So,
yeah.
yeah. So hopefully we have a few, or at least a year of that with Kelsey. So I believe he's returning. So,
He is.
so yeah, it's gonna be fun, and he completely deserves this money.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. 100% agree. I would be shocked if anyone doesn't think he earned it. I'd be
Yeah.
shocked. Even the people who hate him, I would be shocked if they. I think even those people are like, you know what? I hate his guts, but he's worth it.
Oh, he is.
I would imagine that's the case for most
Yeah.
NFL fans. But
Yep.
yeah, not much to say because he's
No.
I also think, and I also think we should also add this, Eric. I think one of the reasons we don't have much to say is because I think we both know that this isn't really going to change the Chargers' fortunes. They're still a cursed
Correct.
franchise.
Correct. And
You
they
know,
have
he's
pieces. They're they're just missing a few. They have pieces, but they're also
yeah,
missing a few that they
they
need. I
are.
mean, wide receiver's a big one.
Oh yeah,
Their defense is fine, honestly. It's really just the offense. That offensive line needs to stay healthy. Then we can start talking about them making deep playoff runs and just doing whatever. Because Herbert, we know he can play. He just needs a supporting cast around, which he hasn't had, and which I'm surprised he hasn't had, because he's been there for what,
A number of
3,
years at
4
this point.
years now?
He's been there
So,
a while. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. This doesn't change the Chargers right now. I mean, it's great that congratulations, Derwin James stays. I'm happy for him because he deserves it. But the Chargers, as an organization, you're not where you need to be. You're
No,
not.
you're not.
You're
Nope.
not. I understand that the injuries to the line really killed them in the playoff game because Herbert was getting assassinated on live TV, but
Yeah,
that's an excuse. I mean, the fact all you know what that did, that exposed your lack of depth. You have no depth. The
and they
organization
haven't
has no
had
depth.
depth for a while now, for
They
years.
haven't. They haven't. So they need to make some more moves, but this is obviously a very good first step. And we'll see
Yes.
what the Chargers do next because they need to support Herbert. He's just as you said, he's a very good QB that has had no help whatsoever
No.
from his front office. And so we'll see what comes of it. It'll be interesting. That's all I have on Derwin James. What about you?
Yep, same here.
Okay, guys, moving on to the next story. Talking about the Steelers right now. It's been a bit since we've talked about the Steelers, probably since Rodgers. Um,
Yeah.
but Nick Herbig, the edge rusher, has been signed to a new deal. 4 years, $100 million, 42 of which is guaranteed. Um, Eric, my gut reaction, who's getting traded? We should take
Yeah,
bets.
agreed.
We should take bets, okay? So it's either Watt or Highsmith. I don't see them moving Queen because he's too expensive. Um, and he's old, right? I mean, Watt's expensive, but Watt is still younger, so it'll be easier for a team to take on that deal. Um, is it Watt or Highsmith? Which one do they move? Do we think it's Watt? Do they pull the plug?
I don't know. I seriously don't know because we'll talk about it in a bit, but since Myles Garrett got traded, maybe those kind of see that and be like, okay, Myles Garrett's gone. Maybe we can trade Watt now. We feel maybe better about it.
Sure.
I honestly think it should be TJ Watt. I think he is past his prime. Slowly, obviously he's still a very good player, but he's slowly starting to get past his prime. Um, he hasn't been as good. Now, obviously, he's still TJ Watt, but he has not been as good. I think now it's pretty much now or never. If you want to get a really, really good package deal for him, why not go out and trade him?
Yeah, I agree with you because I didn't even make this connection right before I was about to say that, but I'll say it here. You're right. The Myles Garrett move, that's going to scare the shit out of a lot of teams, right? And
Yes,
and I think a lot of them are going to be like, you know what, we need some help as well on the
yes,
line. And so Watt is the sexier pick over Highsmith. I mean, Highsmith was better last year, but Watt tied Strahan's record. So
right.
his single season sack record. So I mean, last year wasn't great for Watt, but the value of Watt is still extremely high, and the package you could get for Watt is much bigger than the
Uh,
package you would get for Highsmith. So,
Agreed. Yep.
I,
Just because of
I
the name alone. Like right
exactly,
now, as of last season, Highsmith actually was the better player. People just don't talk about him enough just because he gets overshadowed by how good Watt was maybe a few years ago when he did tied Strahan's record. So
yeah,
you could get a great deal for both these guys. I just think you get a better deal for Watt, and it's probably a better bang for your buck because you still have Highsmith on the other end, who's he's arguably a better player, but he's just as good. So you're
yeah.
not really losing out on a huge piece because you still have a guy on the other end that can do just fine. So I say definitely trade one of them. But if I'm the GM, I'm trading TJ Watt.
Yeah, and look, in a perfect world, we'd trade Patrick Queen, but he's too old. He's too
Yes. Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
He's a player who is definitely past his prime, and
Yep.
because of that, you are not going to be able to get a team to take on that deal unless you take on the bulk of it yourself, and that's just not
Right.
feasible for the Steelers. So, in a perfect world, we move Queen, and we'd have Watt, High, Herbig, but that's not possible. So, I
Yeah.
agree with you. If the Steelers are smart, use the Garrett trade to, call up some teams and say, "Hey guys, you need help,"
Yeah.
and yeah, and try to sell big on Watt. I agree with you 100%. Um, Anyway, we should talk about Nick Herbig.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it says a lot. I think it says a lot that the first topic of conversation in reaction to this trade is a hypothetical trade to come. But
Yeah. No, but it makes sense. I mean, it
yeah,
makes a
yeah,
lot of
yeah, 100%. I just, Herbig's fine. He's
yeah.
he's 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 a, he's a passable edge rusher. He's passable. He's not worse. He's not better. He's fine. Um, the
And
fact that
I
most of the
mean,
money is not guaranteed is definitely good.
yeah.
Let's see him earn the rest of that money. So
Yeah.
42 million guaranteed. I mean, that's really not that bad for an edge rusher. So, especially over a couple years. So, I'm cool with it again because I think this really is just a springboard towards a haul and a trade. So,
Yeah. I agree. I mean, obviously Nick Herbig, he's great. He's overlooked for sure by Watt and Highsmith. Um, a lot of people have probably honestly never heard of him.
yeah,
But, he can start to make a name for himself when one of these guys get traded, which I believe they will. Somebody's getting traded, if not those 2. Somebody's definitely getting traded. You don't
yeah,
just hand a guy that much money if you don't expect to clear up some cap space.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But yeah,
So,
that's all I got on him.
yeah, same here. I'm curious to see how that develops. Um, and we will definitely be covering that trade when it happens because that's going to be a big deal for the Steelers.
Yes.
Taking away from the highest paid defense. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's going to be a big deal for the hopefully bright future of the team. I mean, neither of us think the future is that bright right now.
Yeah.
But
We talked about
baby
that before,
steps.
maybe last episode or 2 episodes
Yeah.
ago.
2 episodes or I don't know, they all blend together, but, baby steps. We'll see what happens, but
It's a step in the right direction for sure.
100%. That's it, for me as well.
Yep.
Um, Moving on to the next story, guys. AJ Brown. Look, we all knew that this was gonna happen after the draft and drafting a wide out in the first round. We knew that this was gonna happen, and the Eagles have officially pounced. They have traded him to the Patriots. For about 2 months, everyone kind of thought it would be the Patriots, but we didn't cover it on the show because we wanted to wait for it to be official, and now it is. Um, the Eagles are getting a 2028 first and a 2027 fifth in return, and I think this is a very respectable haul. I mean, by 2028, the Patriots are still going to be, I think we both agree, Eric, a really solid team at the very least. Unless over the course of the next 2 years they fall apart. I don't see that happening. But anything's possible. But that first round pick won't be high. It'll be a low first round pick. And the 2027 fifth. I mean, who knows how that'll turn out? But I think it's a respectable haul. The last game that AJ Brown played in Philadelphia, where he dropped that crucial pass in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's really gonna haunt uh the dreams of the Eagles faithful. I mean, look, the guy's a star. He's in his prime, but he is also one of the biggest divas in the sport. So the Eagles really were not in a situation to demand a lot, and so they didn't get a ton in return, even though I don't think the haul is horrible. Um, I mean, just all the shit talking he did, and then to come out in the playoff game and play like that was really embarrassing. Um, so we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what Drake May can do with him. He's an incredible talent. He's just in his own head, and we'll see if Rabel and May can get anything out of him. But this had to be done. I mean, his relationship with Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni was
Oh my goodness.
destroyed.
Yeah.
So it had to be done. But yeah, I think it's very possible that AJ Brown finds immense success. And we'll see how it develops.
Yeah, the Patriots go from a okay diva wide receiver from Stephon Diggs to a good diva wide receiver to AJ Brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is a good move, honestly, though, for both sides. I mean, the Eagles desperately needed to get rid of this guy. He was a nuisance, a locker room cancer, some may say. Um, and then on the Patriots side, you have a lot of drama. I feel like you don't really need too much more adding AJ Brown, but there you go. This offseason has been an absolute train wreck for them, and especially after getting blown out in the Super Bowl, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good move for the Patriots. Um, Definitely better than Stephon Diggs. You can't complain there. He's still in his prime. You just have to give him the ball, and he won't complain. That's all you got to
Yeah.
do. And I think Drake May would be able to do that because I mean they have some pieces at wide receiver right now, but they were kind of struggling to find an identity of who their wide receiver one was last year.
Yeah.
With some young guys, and then Stephon Diggs obviously kind of trying to overtake that role, but he wasn't even doing too much last year. So Drake May was finding that he had to spread the ball out a lot, and I don't think you have to do that with AJ Brown, to be honest. Because I'll just give him the ball and he'll be happy. Like I said, that's why he was really mad in Philly because they had Devontae Smith that Hurts was throwing to, and Hurts isn't that great of a passer anyway. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. So it's kind of a slippery slope there. Um, so yeah, I think this is a good spot for AJ Brown to land. He can be a true wide receiver one here. He's not going to be battling with any positions for really anyone else. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think he'll be able to thrive here on a good up and coming team. Obviously, they just made the Super Bowl. It's hard to say up and coming, but Drake May's a young quarterback. He already is made the Super Bowl. It's a great step in the right direction for them. So I think this is a great move for the Patriots. Good move for AJ Brown getting out of Philly. And yeah, honestly, and Philly kind of got a good trade off as well. So good for both sides, but I think it's better for the Patriots long term.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, again, the Eagles had no leverage in negotiations. They got what they could.
Right.
Um, and yeah, we'll see what Vrabel and May can do with that personality. It's going to be it's
Yeah.
definitely going to be interesting with all the stuff going on with their locker room right now because you know it's happening. Will they be able to quell Browns antics, or will that just amplify an already volatile situation? It's going to be really interesting to see, but yeah, I agree
And
with you. Long
H
term, this is better for them.
Vrabel already has a connection with AJ Brown because he was his coach in Tennessee.
That's right. That is where Brown started. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Again, we'll see. We'll see if we'll see what develops. It's going to be interesting because again, that locker room is such a mess right now. I can totally see a situation, even with Vrabel and Brown knowing each other, right? I can still see a situation where two volatile situations collide and create a toxic locker room. So uh, we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
But that's all I have on that story. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, guys, moving on to the last and the biggest story of this episode. Myles Garrett to the Rams. I don't think any of us were really seeing this coming considering he just extended with them with the Browns, but this was definitely a deal that I did not see coming, Eric, and I'm very interested to hear your thoughts because there are a lot of varying takes on this deal. Um, and I think it's gonna be really interesting to hear your take. The Rams acquired Myles Garrett, and in return, the Browns are getting Jared Verse, a very, very good defensive end. If you guys don't know who Jared Verse is, look him up. He's very good. They also get the Rams 2027 first, the Rams 2028 second round pick, and the Rams 2029 third round pick. So that is all going to Cleveland in return for Myles Garrett. Um, I'll be honest, man. Myles Garrett is a Hall of Fame level player. He is truly that good. He lived up to the hype. Um, he's extraordinary. He really is. That being said, I think there's a chance Cleveland won out here because Jared Verse is really talented. He's a very good defensive end, and if the Rams, if the Rams, season does not work out the way they hoped, the 2027 first will end up being a really good pick for the Browns. I mean, I think we both kind of assume that the Browns are on track to be one of the worst teams next year. So that would create a situation where the Browns get a very high first round pick and then a mid to low tier first round pick all of next year, which would result in two excellent draft picks potentially for Cleveland next year, which is obviously very integral for their rebuilding hopes. Um, and that mixed with Jared Verse could really prove to make Cleveland a top tier team. I mean, obviously it has to deliver, but I think the potential's there. So I think this could really work out for Cleveland, dude. I really do. Um, I have a lot more to say about the Rams. We'll get to the Rams in a second. I'm really curious to hear your take on Cleveland's haul with this deal.
Yeah, I really like it. I think this is a good move for both sides, but a better move for Cleveland. Jared Verse, you don't really know how young he is until you really look it up, to be honest, because he's just been so dominant for a little bit. He's only 25.
Yeah,
That's huge. Age is everything in this league. Um, and Miles Garrett, he's 29, I believe. So he's getting up there, or 30, actually, he's 30. He's getting up there. He still obviously has probably 4 or 5 more years left. Jared Verse might have 10, to be honest. Jared Verse playing at such a high level already. And you can't even it's hard to say if he's in his prime or not just because he's so young. So I think
yeah,
Cleveland won this deal. Um, Obviously it sucks getting rid of Miles Garrett. Yes. But to get Miles Garrett, you have to, for the Rams side, you have to give up somebody good.
yeah,
They're not just going to want anybody, and they're not just going to want picks. I think getting that first round pick, that's huge. That kind of pretty much cements that I think the Browns won the deal. I don't know what you think, but I believe the Browns won the deal because getting that first round pick pretty much cements it for me. If they just get Jared Verse in a fifth, it's like, okay, yeah, that's not enough. That first pick, that means everything. Um, the Browns are building a pretty good young roster right now. Quarterback obviously is always a question with the Browns forever. But they have some good young guys. They have Judkins, Fannin just on the offense, and then defense is a whole different story with a bunch of young guys. So it's like it's really hard to say that the Browns lost the trade. Obviously, they're getting rid of Myles Garrett, who, yes, he did just break the sack record, but you're getting Jared Verse in a first round pick and fifth. So it's hard to really complain if you're a Browns fan, um, because of the haul you're getting. And also, on the flip side, if you're a Rams fan, you're getting Myles Garrett. This
yeah,
is big news here. Yeah, you're getting rid of Jared Verse, but it's go big or go home right now with Stafford.
yeah,
Quarterback is pretty much up in the air for them pretty much next year. Stafford's going to retire after the end of this year, I would imagine.
yeah,
So quarterback's up in the air. It could be Ty Simpson, could be, I believe, Stetson Bennett still on the team, even though he's probably 27 now at this point as well.
yeah,
So quarterback's up in the air for them right now. And I guess after Stafford retires, so it's go big or go home right now. They have the roster to do it. Myles Garrett adds that piece that they need. So you can't really complain if you're either side. I just think the Browns won the trade, just getting that first round pick. But arguably, the Rams don't really need it because of what they have going on right now. So
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see what happens. And I'm sure they're sticking with Ty Simpson. So
My gut reaction to this was not Myles Garrett himself, oddly enough. It was you were going, this is an all in move with Stafford.
agreed.
This
Yeah.
is the Rams saying we have 1 to 2 years to win
Yeah.
another championship before it's over. Um, and this, as we just discussed, this team is good enough. They made it to the NFC title game last year and they lost to Sam Darnold, and now Sam Darnold, um, it lost his running back, right? Has lost a few pieces. The Seahawks have not been able to completely retain that roster. So the Rams have an opportunity here to get over the hump and win another championship with Stafford. And I think that was the impetus towards making this move. Um, And yeah, I agree with you. As I said a little bit at the beginning, I do think Cleveland, you could argue they won the deal. But that being said, both sides I really think got great hauls. I think this here's the reality. We're not going to fully know the takeaways from this deal for another year or two. If the Rams win another Super Bowl, this trade was worth it. If the
Yeah.
Rams do not win a Super Bowl, this trade was not worth it. Plain and simple. So
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, we see these kinds of moves all the time, right? Like I remember 2016, the year the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. They traded for Aroldis Chapman, and they
Right.
gave up a disgusting amount, like way too much. Like they gave up huge prospects, um, but they won a World Series. Like it
Yeah.
was worth it. So the Cubs would make that deal again because it won them a championship for the first time in 108 years. And I think that
Barely.
kind of mentality is the same thing driving this Myles Garrett deal. Yes, they gave up arguably too much, but if they win another Super Bowl, they don't care. And they shouldn't care because they'll be on the top of the National Football League. So
Yeah.
uh
No, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, if you win
so
the Super Bowl, you don't really care what you're getting up because you're not looking long term technically. You're
exactly.
just really just trying to win a Super Bowl. It's go big or go home. Pretty much Super Bowl or bust this year for them. Because I don't think I think the future's bright. It just depends who they have a quarterback.
Yeah. And one more thing on the Browns. I mean, no one really expected this, but this was an incredible deal for them. If someone offers you Jared Verse and 3 draft picks, one of which is a first, you take the deal. I mean, that
Yes.
especially since the defensive end in question is A, really good, and B, as you just said, only 25. I thought he was like 27 until you said
Yeah.
that.
That's yeah.
I mean that's a really good deal. Um this is one of the few times where I can say Cleveland made a good deal. Like this is one of the few times where I can say, "Wow,
Yeah.
Cleveland, you didn't fuck this up. You didn't
No,
screw it up.
yeah.
You actually did well." So again, we're not going to be able to fully evaluate whether this worked out for the Rams until we see
Yes.
their success or lack thereof in the playoffs. But I think right now, as we're speaking, a few days after this deal, I think right now we can say that both sides um, got what they wanted. So we'll see what happens. This is
Yeah, man.
definitely one of the biggest moves in recent history. So it'll be interesting to see if this works out for the Rams because they're right, as we said, they're right there. If Stafford keeps
Yep.
playing like he did in the playoffs last year, I mean they're gonna be just uh, next level because I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, Eric, but in the two games the last two games in the playoffs that the Rams played in, the first of which they won and the second of which again they lost to the Seahawks. Stafford threw for like 750 yards and no picks. Like just something absolutely inhuman. Like he was just otherworldly. And if he can play on that level, which I recognize is a big ask, but if he can play on that level, oh my God, imagine how far they could go with Garrett on the team now. So
Yeah, man.
it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting. So the Rams are right there, and we'll see if Sean McVay can get over the hump. He's definitely a very good coach, but he has also frequently disappointed us, right? So
Yeah.
um, we'll see what happens. But right now, this is a really, really good move, I think, for both sides. I think both sides did well here.
Yeah, I agree. I like the fact that you brought up how the Browns actually finally made a good move
Yeah,
because it could be very easy to get pretty greedy, um, giving up a high caliber player like Myles Garrett.
yeah,
So, but I think they played their cards right, and it pretty much fell right into their lap. And like you said, I don't think the Rams gave up too much. So, good deal
yeah.
for both sides. And yeah, that's really all I got.
Same here. Same here. Okay, guys, that is it for episode 31 of the Catching the Facts podcast here on the Catching the Facts official podcast network. Thank you so, so much for listening to us once again blabber on about football for 40 minutes or so. We really appreciate your support. As always, we post during the off season bi-weekly. on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both YouTube and Spotify. Please like, comment, follow, and subscribe to us on both platforms. It helps build our credibility. And as always, we really appreciate your ongoing support. Eric, do you have anything to add before we go for the week?
Yeah, just leave comments. Again,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear your thoughts on this and all the other points that we brought up.
Are we
Um,
right? Are we wrong? Yeah.
right, yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Really I'll mention this too. Uh, I would love to hear your Garrett takes because I've seen major pundits
yeah.
take very strong opinions on both sides. So
Yep.
I'll be very interested to hear what our audience thinks about Miles Garrett because I think that's a deal that you can honestly real easily argue both sides clearly won. So I'll be interested to hear your takes on that specifically. But yeah, leave comments about everything we talked about. We love hearing what you guys think. Um, and as always, again, we really appreciate your support. So we will see you in 2 weeks. We're getting close and close to uh, full training camp. We're not that far away, guys. It's crazy that we're already in June, but here we are. Football's right around the corner, and we look forward to continuing to talk about this sport that we love in the weeks ahead. Until then, I'm your host Dan Sisk,
And I'm Eric Schroeder.
and we'll see you then.